and welcome. My name is Peace Mitchell and I'm co-founder of Women Changing the World Press. Before we begin, I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners and elders of the land that I live and work on, the people of Mamu country in North Queensland. And I would also like to pay my respect and acknowledge traditional owners and elders, past and present, right across Australia and the Torres Strait. Well, I'm very excited to be talking about our brand new book, Women Living Fearlessly. This book includes the stories of 25 incredible women from all over the world who are sharing their stories of living fearlessly. And I'm so excited to have one of my fellow co-authors joining me today, Tiffany James. Please join me on stage, Tiffany.
Hello, Peace. I'm so excited to be here.
It's so wonderful to have you here, Tiffany. Now, Tiffany, for people who haven't met you before, I would love you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you and the work that you do.
Okay, my name is Tiffany James, and I am an encouragement coach, which I love. I love giving women the courage to look at the things that are stopping or preventing them from embracing who they truly want to be and what they truly want to accomplish. But I'm also an MC. I do a lot. I got a big umbrella under under the umbrella of encouragement, but I'm an MC as well as a spoken word artist, a storyteller. And so I'm an author again. And so that's me in a nutshell. I just love empowering women. I love what I do, and I want to change women's lives one woman at a time.
I love that so much, Tiffany. Now, Tiffany, your chapter is entitled Roaring into Authenticity. Can you tell us why you chose this title for your story?
Because most of my life I struggled with my identity. And so once I learned to get my voice, I owned my voice. And so roaring into authenticity symbolizes embracing as well as expressing one true self unapologetically with boldness and confidence. And it's something that I want to teach women all over the world to do. There is so much freedom and so much power in being your true authentic self.
Oh, I love that. There is so much freedom in being your authentic self. There's a quote from your chapter where you say, there is a universal thirst to be a better version of ourselves. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, because I think we were created to evolve. You know, there are so many seeds of potential on the inside of us. So it's natural because those seeds are constantly being watered and we're constantly blooming into and blossoming into the person we were created to be. And so I think I love that. But the thing is, sometimes we get stuck on this journey of trying to just evolve, and then we try to start to edit ourselves to fit into a world that I believe sometimes prefers conformity over authenticity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Another theme that you talk about in your chapter is representation and the fact that growing up, the faces that you saw in the media were predominantly white. Can you tell us more about why representation matters so much?
Yes, because if you don't see yourself, then you start to question yourself. And if there is not a universal picture or image of who you're supposed to be or saying that you belong in this world, because we are in a time where belonging is coming up, right? We talk about this all the time, just wanting to belong. And so I just think that wanting to belong and having this longing on the inside of us to be a part of something is powerful. And so when you're looking at images on the TV, or you're looking at images in careers, and those people do not reflect you, representation matters, because that's where you feel like, well, I don't belong. How can my voice ever be accepted in these rooms? So representation is so critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you are such a wonderful role model for, other women out there who are wanting to go and do big things, and the women that you work with as well. It's really beautiful. Now, in your chapter, you use the lion as a metaphor for, how you felt when you were wanting to break free and challenge convention at that time in your life. Can you tell us more about this time?
Well, during that time, I used the lion because when you think of a lion, when a lion roars, right, it's literally like telling the world, here I am, unapologetically. When you think of a lion, you think of courage. And so I a lot of times it's courage, but it's also decision. I always say that a lion roars and it makes its presence known. And the lion just is. When you see a lion, you see all that it represents. And so I believe that we also have to be courageous, but we also have to make a decision. And there was a time in my life that I didn't always have the courage. It was deep down inside, it was buried. And I needed to awaken that courage. And in order to do that, I just made a decision to rebel against the norm. I made a decision that being me was enough. And sometimes you have to just make that decision and step out and be your true authentic self.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you talk about the journey that you went through to really reclaim your voice and become your authentic self. There's a
Yes.
quote that you say, "The journey of inner healing is powerful and enduring." Can you tell us more about that journey and the inner healing work that you've done over the years?
Yeah, I took a lot of time because I felt like a lot of times we fix up the outer and we tend to everything external. But I really realized that in order for me to embrace my true authentic self, I had to deal with the issues that had prevented me from stepping out, embracing my true self in the first place. Those things that caused me to question my worth, and those things were things I endured in my childhood, like molestation. I had to endure that, being in an abusive relationship, all of these things that happened to me that caused me to question my value and my worth. And so I really said I was tired of pretending. I was really tired of pretending. And I said I really wanted to heal internally. And so I really started to go into therapy and went into inner healing. I went to an incredible church that actually had an inner healing ministry. And so I started the journey, and I just had some incredible women walk alongside me to really allow me to be naked and unashamed, to really talk about those issues that were preventing me from being my true authentic self, those issues that caused me to walk in shame, those issues that caused me to question my value in the world. And they really allowed me to walk through forgiveness, forgiving people who had hurt me, so that I wouldn't have to always walk with a guard over my heart, and so that I can freely be myself, freely love again, freely trust again. And so inner healing is so important. And I think we always tend to everything external. And at some point, we have to stop just putting on that smile and faking it until we make it. It's not going to work. So we just go into a never ending cycle.
Yeah, yeah, incredible. How powerful healing is and can be,
Yes.
and so transformative. Another theme that comes up in your chapter is the sense of belonging, and you've already touched on it in this conversation, but belonging is so important to you. And you say you belong in the room, and it's actually a program that you run. Can you tell us about the You Belong in the Room program and why you created it, why you're so passionate about belonging and this program that you do?
Okay. Well, you belong in the room. I mean, it speaks for itself. But I love it because a lot of times women, we come into rooms that we are invited in, but we don't feel like we belong in the room. And so a lot of times we are constantly in our head and we're constantly battling these thoughts, am I good enough? How do I sound? How do I look? How do my hair look? Am I dressed right? And am I going to be accepted? And so when I started You Belong in the Room, it's all about creating a one-day retreat to bring women in the room to talk about these issues. And I call it the elephant in the room, that there is a standard that is set by the masses. And a lot of times these standards that are set put so much pressure on us, to feel like we have to measure up to this standard. And that societal pressure is constantly causing us to question ourselves and compare ourselves and compete with one another and criticize ourselves and criticize other women. So I really want to talk about that and deconstruct this notion that we all have to be the same, or we all have to measure up to these societal standards. And so when I created You Belong in the Room, it's teaching women how to embrace their true authentic self, be comfortable in their bodies, to be comfortable owning their voice, comfortable owning who they were created to be. And then the process, I also created the You Belong in the Room encouragement boxes. And the whole purpose behind this box is to highlight and celebrate women who might not have, the funds, the resources to have marketing or to have a brick and mortar, but they're brilliant women that are doing brilliant things. And so I highlight them in my box. And so when you purchase the You Belong in the Room box, you are supporting 5 women-owned businesses. And I love that. And it's just like I'm taking them into the rooms that I've been invited into that they might not ever be invited into, and just letting women know who they are. And it's our way of champion these incredible women, not just champion them, but celebrating their greatness. And I always say that it's one thing to own your greatness, but it's also another thing to recognize the greatness in others and celebrate it.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that so much. And we all belong in the room. And I love that you're creating this platform to encourage other women to see that they belong in these places and sharing their message. So thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here today, Tiffany. Thank you for sharing your chapter in Women Living Fearlessly as well. I know it will be so inspiring for our readers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for allowing me to be a part and journey with so many incredible women. You guys are doing great work, Peace, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Well, that finishes our episode for today. So thank you everybody for tuning in. If you don't have your copy of Women Living Fearlessly, make sure you grab a copy at wcwpress.com, and we will see you again soon. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tiffany. Bye.